the MV Hondius outbreak, April 1, 2026. The MV Hondius, a state-of-the-art polar expedition vessel, departs from the edge of the world, Ushuaia, Argentina. On board, 175 passengers and crew are ready for the voyage of a lifetime. Antarctica, the South Atlantic, and eventually the Canary Islands. But as the ship hits the open sea, an invisible passenger is already among them. It doesn't have a ticket. It doesn't show up on a manifest. 6 days out, a 70-year-old Dutch passenger begins to feel the flu, chills, a nagging ache in his muscles, fatigue. By April 11th, he is dead. The crew chalks it up to natural causes. But then his wife falls ill. Then another passenger. Then a crew member. This isn't a heart attack. This isn't food poisoning. This is the Andes virus. A strain of Hantavirus so rare, so lethal, and so unique that it breaks the first rule of its own biology. It can jump from human to human. Today, we look at the MV Hondius, the luxury cruise that turned into a floating laboratory for one of the deadliest pathogens on Earth. How did a virus from the South American wilderness end up in the middle of the Atlantic? And why is the world suddenly holding its breath? To understand the terror on the Hondius, we have to understand the enemy. Hantaviruses are zoonotic. They live in rodents, deer mice, rice rats, and bank voles. The rodents don't get sick. They are the perfect reservoirs, shedding the virus in their saliva, urine, and droppings. When those droppings dry, they become dust. You breathe it in, and the nightmare begins. There are two versions of this virus. The Old World strains, found in Europe and Asia. They cause HFRS, hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. Your kidneys shut down. The mortality rate? About 15%. The New World strains, found in the Americas. They cause HPS, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. This is the one you fear. In HPS, the virus doesn't just make you cough. It turns your own immune system against you. Your capillaries, the tiny blood vessels in your lungs, begin to leak. Not blood, but plasma. Your lungs literally fill with fluid from the inside out. You drown on dry land. The mortality rate for New World hantavirus is a staggering 35% to 50%. For comparison, the 1918 Spanish flu was around 2%. We first met this killer in the 1950s during the Korean War. Over 3,000 UN troops suddenly fell ill with mysterious internal bleeding and kidney failure. It was nicknamed Korean hemorrhagic fever. It wasn't until 1976 that Dr. Ho-Wang Lee isolated the virus from a field mouse near the Handan River. He called it Hantavirus. But the West thought they were safe. Until May 1993, in the Four Corners region of the U.S. A healthy young Navajo man was rushing to his girlfriend's funeral. She had died days earlier of sudden respiratory failure. During the trip, he collapsed, unable to breathe. He died in the ER. The CDC went into a frenzy. Was it plague? No. It was a new strain, sin nombre, the nameless virus. An El Niño year had caused a mouse boom, and the deer mice had moved into human homes. But throughout all these outbreaks, there was one silver lining. You couldn't catch it from another person. If you were in a room with a hantavirus patient, you were safe. Until we found the Andes strain in South America. The rule breaker. Back to the MV Hondius. Investigative teams have now pieced together the patient zero. He wasn't infected on the ship. He was an avid birdwatcher. Before boarding, he had spent months trekking through the landfills and rural outskirts of Argentina and Chile. He likely stepped into the wrong shed or cleaned the wrong pair of boots, inhaling the microscopic dust of an infected long-tailed pygmy rice rat. April 11th. Patient zero dies. April 24th. The ship stops at the isolated island of St. Helena. 29 people disembark, including the widow. They have no idea they are carrying a biological time bomb. April 26th. The widow dies in a Johannesburg hospital. May 2nd. A second death occurs on board. The World Health Organization, WHO, is notified. This is where the panic starts. On most ships, you'd worry about norovirus or COVID. But hantavirus? There is no vaccine. No cure. The only treatment is supportive care, ventilators and prayers. The ship is refused entry at multiple ports. It becomes a pariah, a modern-day Flying Dutchman. Finally, it heads toward Tenerife, the Canary Islands, as a Level 3 emergency. By the time the passengers are evacuated on May 10, 2026, there are 8 confirmed cases and 3 deaths. The case fatality rate? Nearly 40%. The chilling part? The Andes strain's ability for human-to-human transmission. It requires close, prolonged contact. But on a cruise ship, everything is close and prolonged. Is this the start of a new pandemic? The WHO says no. Hantavirus doesn't spread through the air like a cold. It requires heavy viral loads. But as climate change shifts rodent populations, and human travel reaches every corner of the globe, the spillover events are getting more frequent. The story of the MV Hondius is a reminder of the zoonotic tax. We want to see the wild, the remote, the untouched. But the wild has its own guardians. Microscopic, ancient, and relentless. For the survivors of the Hondius, the journey isn't over. They face 42 days of strict quarantine. For the rest of us, it's a wake-up call. We are only ever one dusty room away from a virus that can turn our own lungs into a sea. Next time you're cleaning out a shed or trekking through the beautiful Andes, look at the ground. Because the smallest creature in the forest might be carrying the world's most dangerous secret. Thanks for staying till the end. If you liked this video, please hit the bell icon so you don't miss any update. Also, please don't forget to drop a like. Share it to your friend and family, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.